Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
Fuck that shit! These nuts in your mouth, bitch!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Terror Table for Book Club. Book Club Chapter 3. We have resumed. It has been, I think, 2 months since our last Book Club episode, and we said we were going to do one once a month, but we don't give a fuck, I guess.
May was so busy.
Yeah, well, it's busy for, it's
Spring.
a busy time of the year, and also, like, as much as we love this show, we love doing this show, it is not even close to the top 5 most things we got to get through. Like, we got to do a lot of stuff to be able to get here, and it's hard to get us all in the same room at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
True story.
But we're going to do as much as we can, hopefully once a month, at least once every 2 months. I know another thing that was holding us off from doing this particular episode is we wanted to have our friend LANA on the show because she has chosen all 4 of our books that we are going to be reviewing today. And as I just mentioned before, that we have a bunch of other shit going on. We are stupid and we are lazy and we don't know how to record Skype interviews.
You are stupid and lazy. Speak for yourself.
The guys of the Terror
Okay,
Table.
I was
Me
going to
and
say,
Buzi.
I'll take it.
nobody asked me for my help.
No, me and Buzi.
Oh, I thought you were defending me for a second. I was like, you're so sweet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's, and you know what, like, we will have LANA on, but it's going to be in person next month when she's here.
Yeah.
So that's, Tara just found out about that, I guess. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Lana's
So
coming?
exciting.
That's
We're
so
gonna
exciting.
have-
Is she staying here?
Yeah, she's going to stay here. She's going to
Oh,
be
bless
here.
her heart.
She's going to be here 2 days after Andy and Bianca from Germany and Erie International show up. And she's going to just come for, I think, 2 days. But
That's
we're going to
awesome.
load her up with poutine. Same with Andy and Bianca. And I think also, I'm just going to say this to them now. This has nothing to do with our show, but Crawl comes out that week. So
Yeah.
I want to get us all tickets to
Hell
Crawl.
yeah.
And Thursday
That'd
night.
be perfect.
Yeah, Thursday night we'll all go to Crawl, and maybe we'll move all the podcast shit to a bigger room and just have fucking everybody free for all on that
That'd be
episode.
fun.
Yeah, but that's going to be super exciting, so we cannot wait for that. But as I mentioned before, we normally talk, I don't think I mentioned this, we normally talk about movies. Once a month we're going to be doing this book club thing. This month LANA has picked all of our books. And I'm going to introduce all the hosts that are here today, and they can start off by saying which book they will be reviewing at the end of this show. So I'm Mitch. You hear me every single week on every episode, and I'll be reviewing The Devil All the Time by Donald Ray Pollack. And next to me is my girlfriend,
Courtney, hi. I am reviewing Verity by Colleen Hoover this month.
and next to her,
I am also one of the regular co-hosts of the Terror Table. I was reading The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Trembley.
and my big sister, Tara.
I read Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin.
I'm so excited to hear about it.
Schweblin.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell you about
Awesome.
it.
Okay, so now you've heard all of us, you know who we are. Hopefully you've tuned in before, but if you haven't, welcome. This is going to be a really fun episode. We're going to do what we normally do in movie episodes, where we're just going to talk about what else we've been up to. So we're going to strictly talk about books, and specifically horror books. So if any of us have taken in something else, we'll talk about that. And we're going to skip news because we don't do news on book club days. So we'll get to all that next week when we do a regular show, which we don't know what we're going to be doing. So we'll keep checking our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we will announce what we will be doing next week with me, Diego, and Buzi as the core group of the Terror Table. All right, everyone ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready to rock? Okay, so let's start off. Let's say what we're going to be reading next month. Our next month's choices.
Sure.
So I just chose mine right now because I can't settle on one, and I'm going to be talking about one book today that I'm halfway through, and I'm going to talk about what I've read so far and then finish it off next month. I'm going to
do the same thing with one today.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to make this my pick for next month, but I'll just talk about that today. But I'm going to read The Ruins by Scott Smith. The movie The Ruins. You like The Ruins?
I think I have that book.
Do you?
I think I do.
Because I just decided today. I'm like, yeah, I've always heard it's good. And I think our friend Nicholas Humphreys was reading it. And I was just like, I want to be more like you every day. So
That's right.
What would Nicholas do?
yeah, I will 100% be reading The Ruins by Scott Smith. So if you don't have it, I got to go buy it.
I'm pretty sure I have it. We'll check after this, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Courtney, what will you be reading?
So in honor of the trailer that dropped today, I will be reading Dr. Sleep next month by Stephen King.
By Stephen King. Exciting times to
Good
be a horror
choice.
fan.
Yeah,
no
very
kidding.
exciting.
Also a tick book. So
Tick, very
good luck
tick.
with that.
Good
But I guess
summer reading.
It's
Yeah.
summer reading. We're gonna be outside. Probably not, but like we'll,
I like when I
Don't lie to
read,
us.
I leave my books at work because the only time I have is my lunch hour to read. So this book is quite a bit larger, so I'm gonna need to bring it home and actually like allot time on a weekend.
Read before
or,
bed.
Yeah, even just half an hour here and there, which my mental health needs anyways. So thanks, Stephen King.
Yeah. Thanks,
Sweet.
Stephen King, for my mental health
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
exciting. So you can get a little leg up on if you haven't read Dr. Sleep. You can listen to Courtney talk about it next month and get excited for the sequel, not remake. Jeff, you stupid fucking moron.
I know.
God, that was annoying.
Is that November? They said that it's coming out.
Yeah.
November.
He just wants to belong.
No, he just wants to argue. He wants to not like things.
Hey, settle down. Jeff just bought a cabin, so if we're nice,
That's right.
he might have us up there.
That's right.
Would it be worth it though?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I did corrections corner on his Facebook post today.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited.
That must drive him nuts.
He was pretty nice about it, actually. I was surprised. So, Jeff,
I think he's learning
Thanks.
ever since I roasted him for a half an hour straight that night where he came over. Buzi, what will you be reading next month?
I will be reading The Hunger by Al Makatsu.
Nice. I've heard it's awesome.
what's
Talk about it next month.
I just want to know what it is.
Look it up. Or do you know what it is?
Huh?
Do you know what?
It's about the Donner Party. It's like an exaggerated
Oh,
story about
hell
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Donner Party.
The Hunger.
Tara,
Yeah.
what will you be reading next month?
Next month, I'm going to read Foe by Ian Reid.
Cool.
Ian.
Ian.
I think it's Ian. I don't know. I've read 2 of his
It's-
books
It's
now.
You
Ian.
know-
It's just spelt like
Ian.
Irishy.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like
Gaelic.
Jeffs who are spelled Geoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
Geoff.
that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the books we'll be reading next month. So let's get on with what we have been up to. Who wants to go first? Should we go?
Yeah, sure.
Just start with you and let's just go the way around
Okay.
we have been. Yeah.
So there's a couple books. I am currently reading Foe by Ian Reid, which Tara will be talking about next month. I have about 50 pages left, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to talk about that one next month, and I guess I can just hop in with you.
Yeah,
and
we'll
steal
just
your
tag team it.
time. Okay. Yes, we'll be doing that. But then the other thing that I have read is, well, actually, I listened to the audiobook of The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty.
Incredible book.
So I've read this book before when I was younger, but and we did it seems like so long ago that I finished this because we rewatched the movie and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the audiobook is narrated by William Peter Blatty, the actual writer of the book, so that's cool. Obviously, everyone who's listening to this probably knows what The Exorcist is. I don't need to explain the storyline. But the best part about this book is it's written by someone who truly believes this kind of stuff. And the audiobook, I think it's very beneficial to listen to the audiobook. If you're looking for something to listen to that's in the horror realm and it's been a while since you've read The Exorcist or you haven't read The Exorcist, I couldn't recommend this audiobook enough. It's awesome. You have like Reagan acting as the devil, speaking with Father Garris a lot more. Like that's one of the things that this book has more than the movie, is that there's more of Reagan playing the devil or being Pazuzu, whatever. I don't know. I'm looking at my notes and I haven't read them in a long time, so I think I'm just gonna freeball this one. But no, there's the audiobook it was really exciting to listen to, and there's like not an ounce of fat in this book. Like it's just so tight and it's so endlessly entertaining from start to end. And I think like the audiobook, getting back to the audiobook thing, there's a part in the book where where Father Garris is listening to a recording of Reagan when she wasn't possessed. So he's like, I want to know what she sounded like before this, because if you've seen The Exorcist, you know anything about, he battles for a large portion of it, thinking that it's something mental with her. She's not actually, because he's battling with his faith and everything. And they actually have like a little girl voice acting those parts, so it makes it a lot more effective and eerie. And then there's also parts with like it's so cool because when the tensions while the tensions are at an all-time high and the fear scale is like at its peak, he writes about how she is singing like an innocent schoolgirl in the choir and is taunting him. So
I remember that. That's so cool.
Yeah, while he's like while he's cursing at her, or like while he's trying to exorcise her, there's like a little girl singing like a choir girl in the background, and it's really creepy.
Oh.
So it was awesome. I loved it. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. So yeah, if you want to check out The Exorcist or check it out again, I couldn't recommend it enough. The audiobook though, do it.
I'd like to listen as well.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so the next one is, I'm going to talk about this a lot more next month, but I picked up Slash of the Titans, The Road to Freddy vs. Jason by Dustin McNeil. You've never seen Freddy vs. Jason, hey? No. Have you? Okay.
You're missing out.
Yeah, am I really though?
Oh, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, for real?
I love this movie. Like, and I know Buzi does too, and it's Diego's like favorite horror movie of all time. Like,
it's pretty fun.
I better check it out.
And
then.
that's sacrilegious to say it's your favorite horror movie of all time, but he has a good reason for it. Like, he has a sentimental connection with it, and it's one of those movies that I saw when I was 12, just the perfect age to be seeing it. But the thing that I found out about this through a podcast called Best Movies Never Made, and they usually bring on people who are well versed in movies that didn't get off the ground, that they have full scripts for. Like, they've done a Jurassic Park sequel that never happened, that was insane. All these were like most of them you can be like, oh, that's why they didn't make this is garbage.
It sounds like a cool podcast.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
really cool. But the thing about this book is it's like an encyclopedia. And so the tagline on it is 1 film, 2 horror icons, 17 screenwriters. So it goes through every single iteration of what this movie was supposed to be, because at one point this was supposed to happen after Jason Goes to Hell, which I believe was 1990. And it just goes through all of the, in a fun way, it goes through the legal reasons why they had such a tough time getting this movie off the ground and why it didn't happen until I believe it was 2004. But yeah, like, there's battles because they're both properties that are owned by different.
Right. That sounds right up my alley. I need to check that out.
It's really cool. But the thing is, the reason I'm not done reading is because it's big and the writing is very small. But it really
is like
cool.
an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's really cool because they have all these like comic, there's little illustrations in it that make it pretty fun to read, but it is mostly text. But I highly recommend picking it up. But I'm just going to talk about, there's... So, Freddy vs. Jason came out of New Line Cinema, which was Robert Shaye's company. He's the brother of Lynn Shaye, who was in the Insidious movies, Detroit Rock City. She's awesome. Love her. But they put out Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was by far their biggest hit. So that studio was known as the house that Freddy built for a long time, because all of... the reason why that studio got off the ground was because of the success of Nightmare on Elm Street. New Line Cinemas is the reason... Nightmare on Elm Street is technically the reason why we got the Lord of the Rings trilogy that we have.
No kidding.
Because they were the ones who eventually funded it and made it. And people have been wanting to make Lord of the Rings movies for obviously ever. But they were the ones who finally got it done. And I don't think you could have done them better. Those 3 movies are so incredible. But so there's lots of really interesting things behind the scenes with all of that. But so they talk about things that people don't always think about, and the studios facing off with each other, who would get the box office money and who would take a licensing deal. Sean Cunningham, the creator of Friday the 13th, made a deal with Paramount in which he owned the rights to Jason, but Paramount owned anything with the Friday the 13th title. So that came, thus spawning Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, which filmed in unison with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I know I sound like a next level nerd here, but this is my passion. These are the things that I'm really into.
That's super cool, though, to learn about what happened behind the scenes to make the production happen, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, and why, and
how
there's
the sausage
so many
gets
politics.
made, so they say.
But yeah, even they show at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, it ends with Jason's mask is in some dirt, and Freddy's glove comes out of the ground and drags the mask down to hell, which makes no sense, but it was a cool zinger back in the day. I just miss the days where people would make insane fucking movies like this, and Freddy vs. Jason is an insane fucking movie. It makes no sense that this movie even came to be. It's something that wouldn't happen these days. Well, I would love for it to, but it wasn't taken seriously. But along with that, there was the director of Jason Lives was tossing out the idea of a Cheech and Chong versus Jason movie.
I would watch that.
Yeah, and
I would.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna go over like some of the ideas that are thrown out here because it goes through every single script and every iteration. But there's ideas including a cult of Fred heads who kidnap a 13-year-old boy or a 13-year-old and perform a ritual on her to rebirth Freddy. One where Freddy and Jason are both in hell and are sent back to Earth to rack up kill counts via sinners. Also, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street returns. Same with Tommy Jarvis from Friday the 13th Part 4. They would be their icons' prime directive. Like, they would be the ones where Freddy needs to kill Nancy and Jason needs to kill... So, like,
they're the Terminator.
Pretty much. Yep. But they also have to kill other people because the winner takes dominion over Earth, basically. And they would get to go back to Earth rather than just live in hell. So it's pretty insane. But there's one where Freddy was revealed to be a young camp counselor who let Jason drown. And in that same script, Freddy takes the shape of Jabba the Hutt type booger monster. In the same script, Jason was also being molested by his father leading up to his drowning. His dad would also make Jason wear a hockey mask in public because he was embarrassed of him. It ends off... Okay, this is the thing that blew my mind. This is a real thing that they were considering making. The end of this movie ends off with a WrestleMania-style showdown in a ring made of human organs and heads on the posts. So, like, think WrestleMania. And
WrestleMania meets Ed Gein.
Yeah, so think about Freddy vs. Jason
like in an actual the whole thing.
Freddy vs. Jason in an actual like wrestle match, and think about who's the guy who comes out and introduces everyone. Like, are you ready?
Something.
Is it Vince McMahon?
Not anymore. No.
Okay, but back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So think about instead of Vince McMahon, in his place you would have Ted Bundy.
Oh my God!
I feel like the one you're going for is like a Bruce Buffer.
This is
what
real.
You're thinking of.
They were going, yeah.
These are real ideas.
Ted Bundy was going to come out and introduce the match, and the spectators in the crowd would include thousands of demons and monsters, as well as Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, and Lee Harvey Oswald.
Is it bad that I would have watched that?
Oh, I would love that.
Okay, I'm like, this sounds great.
Just for the effects alone, it would have been worth it.
Did you like fangirl? You're like, oh, there's Mussolini.
Moose.
So, yeah.
My dude.
Moose. So, yeah, like this book is just filled with silly ideas, and I'm going to leave it at that because I just want to give you an idea of like one of them, and that's the one I decided to share. So if you want to pick it up, I'd highly recommend it. There's still so much, like that's 1 out of 17. So there's some really cool stuff in there. But one last thing I'll say about it is like everyone thinks that they have a better idea for Freddy vs. Jason. But after all these years, I still love that movie, and I wouldn't change it. I watch it at least once a year, and it's just goofy fun for me. So I'm happy that we finally got it, but it's pretty interesting to read about all the other iterations. And I've read this before. I was going to use it as a companion piece for Slash of the Titans. There's a graphic novel comic book written by Jeff Katz, James Anthony Kuhoric, and Jason Craig, and it's Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. So this was the thing that was supposed to happen after Freddy vs. Jason. It was the sequel that they were talking about doing, in which Ash Williams would join the ranks of and so there's a comic book version of it you can get in a trade paperback. Diego actually gave me this, which is amazing because this thing's almost impossible to find online, and I think if you can find it, it's like $100.
Awesome.
It's insane. But I'm gonna read that and talk about it next month. I have read it before. It is stupid and it's insane, but I would love just more Bruce Campbell in my life. So that is everything that I have taken in besides my main book. So let's pass off to Courtney.
All right, so
I guess actually, so you never read anything extra, Buzi?
Nope.
And Tara actually didn't this month either. So
nope.
You can take it away. Take your time.
Delinquents.
I was about to spend like a bunch of time explaining why I haven't, but yeah.
I was gonna explain like for 3 seconds.
You guys can explain afterwards.
Okay.
So just let Courtney have her time.
Sounds good.
Fuck's sake.
So,
fuck off.
Other than the book that I read for May, I also finally ordered and received BIRDBOX by Josh Mallerman.
He has a new book out too, hey? Doesn't he?
I don't know.
Oh.
I actually don't know.
Sorry.
I should check. I'm sure I have it saved on my Goodreads, but I go through and I just save a bunch of stuff and then don't remember any of it until I'm at the bookstore. But so I knew nothing about BIRDBOX before the Netflix movie. I had never heard of it, anything. And so
except for I told you about it for like 2 years.
Okay, that's not true.
It is true.
And not true. Not even close to being
Can
true.
you turn his mic off while she's
Seriously.
talking?
Moose.
So we watched the movie, and I liked it more than you did, for sure.
Yeah, I was really nice about it on
Yeah.
air because I was tired of everyone shitting on it. But then
You were pretty pissed off at the ending.
Yeah, it was bad. But
Yeah.
I came on air with heat and being like, guys, it's not that bad, because I wanted to be that guy. But yeah, no, it's a shit movie.
Yeah, so, but I liked it a lot. And so immediately after we watched it, I was like, I need to go pick up the book. And of course, Mitchell's just doing his, well, you just watched the movie. Why do you want to read the book now?
Welcome
This
to
is
the
a
show where
weird
you can
impression
listen
of
to.
bitch.
She always
Thank you.
does that.
Thank you. So yeah, no, it was an interesting read. So every single chapter flipped back and forth between the present and what was happening when it first happened. So every single chapter.
So you're getting
it does
more
that.
of the bird verse.
Yeah.
You're getting deep into the bird
Yeah,
verse.
getting in the bird verse. So sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad, because sometimes you're just like, I just want to know what's happening for one more freaking chapter. But he pulled it off quite well, and it is completely different from the movie. The things that happen, the sequence that happens, how people die, how
Did
long
they
they
include
stay.
a Canadian bus crash that actually happened in the book?
That
or
is
that
not in the
just
book.
movie?
That is
Oh.
not in the book.
Did you hear about
Is
that?
Machine
No.
Gun Kelly in the book?
I haven't watched
You
Bird Box.
guys.
Okay, no, but
Jeez.
it's not in there anymore, but they actually, Netflix got, they filmed it in Canada, and there was a scene where there was actually like a tragic
Oh, Jesus.
train accident that I think was near Calgary, I think was where it was about. And like they were filming it, and they kept it in the movie. Like a bunch of people
Oh my
died.
God.
And then so people petitioned to Netflix, and they finally took it out. Like,
No,
they
I heard through sources that I trust that it's like an hour and a half long anxiety attack, and I was like, you know what? I don't really have time for that right now.
That's Mother.
That's pretty much high. That's high
That's
praise.
Mother.
That's high praise for any horror movie, and I wouldn't
That's
go
true.
that far. I'd say watch the first 20 minutes and then you're good. The first 20 minutes of that movie is insane.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes is crazy. Whatever. I still like the movie. I liked the book too. It wasn't by any means one of the best books that I've read in a while, but still enjoyable. And
It's like a 4.5.
What'd you give it on Goodreads?
I don't know what I gave it on Goodreads.
No?
No, I don't. I don't have my phone in here with me, so I don't. I'm thinking I probably gave it like a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other book I read, and Lana, I'm so sorry I have not messaged you about this yet. So Lana and I will sometimes talk about books on the side, and we had decided to buy this book together. So she got the
She's
Kindle
your
version.
side bitch?
She's my side bitch. She's
Ah.
my side
Book
book
bitch.
bitch.
I'm feeling a little left out
And
here
I
for
couldn't
me.
be happier. I'm so sorry. So I had found this book online and I had messaged Lana and asked her if she had read it, and she said no. So she ordered it right away, just on her Kindle or whatever those ebooks are called. And I was looking at it, and it was a bit more expensive on Amazon to order, so I had to wait a bit, and then I finally ordered it, and which is also super fucking annoying because he's a Canadian author, and I couldn't find it at any bookstore in Saskatoon and had to order it off Amazon.
What's the book called?
So the book is called DOLLHOUSE, and it's by John Hunt, who lives in Ontario. So the book is based in like the Guelph area. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool because they were talking about like Tim Hortons and stuff that Canadians do, which was kind of cool.
So you could yeah hey along with it.
I yah-hayed
Oh yeah.
all the
Did you have
time.
to explain anything to Lana? Any of the Canadiana in it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I haven't messaged
Oh,
her
you
yet.
haven't
No,
yet? Okay.
no.
She's like, what the fuck's a double?
Yeah, exactly. A double. What are you looking at?
BirdBox, 3 out of 5 stars. is
There
what
we go.
you gave
That's
it.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Dollhouse.
So
I'll
Dollhouse.
let you go.
What did I rate Dollhouse on Goodreads?
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think Lana gave it a 5, actually.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe
So
it was
did you
no.
give it a
She
shorter score because you think you're better and more intellectual
she
than her?
gave Verity a 5.
Okay.
She gave Verity a 5, and I think I gave it a 4.5.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Oh my God.
So, anyways, Dollhouse is a story about a girl who gets kidnapped her like very first day after she moves away for college, and she is kept in a concrete room and basically kept as like a fuck doll.
Oh, Jesus.
But these guys, they wear masks. So there's a guy who wears a jackal mask and a guy who wears, I believe it's a gorilla mask.
This sounds very much like Buzi's thing.
And they come in and they
What?
basically...
What?
Well, he loves masks and fuck dolls, but not the real people.
Oh, Jesus.
They
Christ.
come in and they basically...
He likes those blow-up
His
dolls.
face right now.
What?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just
Don't-
ignore him.
no, I'm just-
No, so they come in basically and they rape her repeatedly, and when she will not comply with them, they will torture her and cut off body parts basically. I was not prepared for how graphic this book was right off the bat. Like the very first chapter, it's like, oh, me and my dad are super close and I'm moving away to college, and then I get kidnapped and now I'm being raped repeatedly and fucking mutilated every day.
Holy shit.
So I was not prepared for that, which is interesting, considering I knew exactly what the book was about. I just did not expect the detail that he went into with it. So that was crazy. And of course, like I said earlier, I'm always eating lunch when I'm reading it, and I'm reading these parts and I'm just like, well, my appetite's gone now because I am envisioning this in my head perfectly and I don't want to eat anymore. So good for him for doing that, because
So you're saying this is like a weight loss secret?
it is. Just
This is
read
Sarah's
these couple
weight loss
chapters
challenge.
over and over and over again. So she ends up escaping the room. I'm not going to tell you how.
Are we going full spoilers here?
No.
you tell me the whole book.
No.
Yeah, is this a thing that happens at the beginning?
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Okay.
And she ends up escaping from her room only to find out that she is not the only girl who's being held captive in the house. So
It's got a collection of fuck dolls.
they've got a collection. That's why it's called the Dollhouse.
Oh.
And so they get free, and it's basically the story about her living after what's happened to her and other crazy things that happen. I called the killer right from the very beginning. Almost.
So-
I had the first killer in my head, and then I was like, oh, no. So that was meh.
This
but-
sounds like remember that movie we watched last year, Incident at Ghostland? Is it kind of like that? Do you remember the one where it's the two girls? It's made by the director of Martyrs. There's one of them writes a book.
Oh,
Remember? And there's, like, they wear, like, doll faces.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, because there's actual dolls.
They're
in
actual
it.
dolls, though. They're like dressed up like dolls. So I was
That's what they do in
expecting
the movie.
I was expecting that in the book, that they had
okay.
them dressed up as dolls, and they didn't. But anyways, really cool read. If you can find it, worth a read. A good Canadian author.
Sounds like a real cheery
It's
upper.
not at all.
I
And
was actually
there's-
gonna ask about
But there's a
that.
hero dog.
Oh, hells yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah,
Buzi has a question.
and he's the best boy. What's up?
Okay, so when she escapes and is trying to live a normal life, it feels like you were just about to explain like a John Wick situation. And
Yeah.
now that you mentioned a dog as well, like, does this movie turn into John Wick?
It sort of does, actually. It's very John Wicky afterwards. Yeah, because
I could feel that energy.
they didn't
Good
cat.
pull. That's hot right now.
They didn't.
John
5
Wick
out
is
of
hot right
5.
now.
There's spoiler alert.
No, don't.
Okay, I won't. But anyways, it does turn very John Wicky, so it's kind of cool. The third book that I'm still reading it right now. I've just got a couple chapters left, but I wanted to mention it. It's called The Homecoming, and it's by Andrew Piper. So another Canadian author. This is the third book that I have read by him now. The second book I read by him was just a year or two ago. It was called The Demonologist.
Wasn't the Elaine and Ed Warren one?
No, it's not the Warren book.
Lorraine
It's
one.
this is like a fiction. Well,
Well, so
sorry.
is the other one.
I feel like I've read
a
reviews on that
novel
one,
fiction.
and it's on my I want to read it list.
It's cool. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but still really
You
cool.
were super into it at the beginning.
In the beginning, I was really into it, and then it got really weird. And I feel like if I read it again, I'd like it a lot more. I just wasn't prepared for where it was going. But anyways, so this one is about a family, and their father passes away, and he basically sends them to this huge, massive estate that they never knew that he had. So their father was absent basically their whole lives. He wouldn't tell the mom or the family what he did for a living. And it was just kind of an unspoken thing between the mom and the dad just to not talk about it. He would go away and do his business.
Tony Soprano shit right there.
And he would be there when he could. So they got brought out to this huge estate, and they have no idea why they're there. And then the will gets read to them, and they have to stay there for 30 days in order to inherit their portion of the will. And it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it, but it's crazy. Something else happens.
I feel like, because you say it's within the first 50 pages.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should just say it right now that you can talk about the first 50 pages.
Well, and this would be on any review that you read online.
Yeah.
Well, not only that,
That's
it's
fair.
probably on the back, or even if it's not,
There is
imagine it like a movie.
There is nothing on the cover whatsoever that says basically anything, but I'll say it.
You told me about this, and I'm like, oh yeah, if this was a movie, that would be in the trailer.
It would be in the trailer.
And
so,
because it's in the first 50 pages.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to say
it's a longer book.
So after the will is read and whatever, all of a sudden another family shows up, and they find out that their dad had a second family the whole time, and these are their brothers and sisters. And that mom had passed away already, so she didn't know about the second family.
Shit.
And basically, they're all on this gigantic estate that they can't get out of. It's like electrified fences, whatever. In the beginning, in the will, it says...
It's like the Hunger Games, but family drama.
It says they can leave any time, but they don't know how to get out and whatever. But then all of a sudden, there's like paranormal shit, and it's getting really fucking crazy right now. I've got like less than a quarter of the book left.
What's it called again?
The Homecoming. So I'm really, 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 really interested to see where it goes. I just wanted to note that the first book I read by him, Andrew Piper, was called The Killing Circle. And it was one of the very first books that I ever bought without knowing anything about it. Like at that time, it was always like I was young. Like I was probably 12 or 13 when I read that book, I think. And so I had only bought books that I heard about, and I was on a vacation, and I was in the airport, and I picked this book up, and I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And it was fucking awesome. I really want to reread it just to see if it stands up as well as I remember it.
They never stand up.
Yeah.
The Exorcist.
But that's always one that...
Damn,
that
this
Oh
Harshing
shit, I
out
guess
here.
I did read a book. I forget. I just remembered that I reread one. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. So that one is always the book that he's like known for writing, because I think it was one of his very first books. But I also wanted to note that I can't remember what I said on our very first book club episode about what was my first horror book that I read.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it was. But I wanted to note that The Killing Circle is one of the very first horror books that I read that wasn't like a Christopher Pike or an R.L. Stein.
Oh, so he's
But-
like kind of an older writer then?
Not...
Like, when did you read The Killing Circle?
I think I was a young teenager.
He was like 14, 15?
Yeah, like
Okay.
younger than that maybe. Can you look up when it was written? Because it would have been released right when I bought it.
Okay.
I feel like it was 2013, but that could be very wrong.
Yeah, and while I'm looking that up, I just want to quickly give a shout out. Listeners, if you don't like my spoiler politics on the first 50 pages rule, let me know.
Yeah, let us know.
I think that would be a good thing to go by, because like if we're going to
I
talk
think
about
that's
books,
fair.
I think that's fair
honestly.
too.
I think first 50 pages are open, like you can do whatever you want.
This is
but-
within like the first 20.
Yeah. And I think like obviously how do you talk about a book without being like,
That's right.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was bad. Like, I could be
It's a thrilling novel.
Or literature.
Book.
Literature.
Filibuster, you guys, you're doing great.
We're doing really
You're
good.
doing good.
But yeah, I saw it at, where was I? I think it was at like Shoppers or something. Maybe not Shoppers, but one of those stores that I was randomly walking in, and I was like, oh, new Andrew Piper novel. Perfect. And I kind of just picked it up and looked at the back, and I was like, hell
2008.
yeah. Oh, so I was
You'd have
even
been 18.
younger. Oh, 2008.
Yeah. So
No. Oh.
yes. Math is hard.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Courtney's
Yeah.
a time traveling being, apparently.
So then it definitely was not one of the first horror books that I
If
read.
she was able to do math, she'd be too powerful.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong. That is literally the only thing I'm missing in my life.
That's
I
what's
feel
holding
like
you back.
that's me too.
So,
like
if
I
I
would be
was
all powerful if I was able to do basic
18.
math.
What the hell trip was I going on when I was 18?
Think about it while Tara talks about what you read last week.
This is going to drive me crazy. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
All right, so here's the story. I recently accepted another job in addition to my current job, so I've been a little busy. I've been working 7 days a week.
Keep bragging.
But that's not a brag. Being busy is not a brag. That's just my reality. So I haven't been reading as much as I usually do. But when I was working one day, I had to go into 8th Street Comics and Books, and I took a little gander through there and looked at their used book section, and there, lo and behold, was a hardcover copy of Thinner, but with the
Richard
Bachman, I guess,
as the author.
and it even had like the Richard Bachman picture in the back and the whole.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, this is a gem. I gotta buy this. So I bought it, brought it home, and I started reading it. And I was like, I remember reading Thinner and really liking it when I was younger. Have no idea how old I was when I first read it. Long story short, it's one of those ones that I feel like just didn't hold up for me.
Do you think you have you maybe outgrown King though? Because you were very
I'm
thrilled
starting
with
to feel.
Pet Sematary and
Yeah, I'm
everything.
starting to feel that way. Maybe I have. I just have this like, glorified like nostalgia when I look back at the books like that I.
Books are written differently now. Like if you like.
Well, and I've read a lot since then. So
Yeah.
when I first read a lot of King, that was the first.
Some
of his
stuff is quite pedestrian.
I would never
crazy
fucking
pedestrian.
use the word pedestrian ever.
We've been watching a lot of cooking shows.
Oh my god, no. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't want to believe that I've outgrown King, but yeah, I don't know. It's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's my story.
I haven't finished that book. I did start it about 2 years ago, maybe year and a half ago. Well, Thinner, yeah. And I was into it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I just never ended up finishing it. I switched over to something else, and it's always on my back burner of things that I
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I'd have to start it over at this point. I still remember everything that happens in the first couple chapters, but I would like to actually make it through.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Are you done, Courtney?
I am. Thank you, Buzi.
You're just like, go.
No, well, because there was a piece of dead air there, and I was like,
Oh.
got it.
Yeah, I got nothing. I haven't really read or watched anything really lately.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fix that for next week.
I've been focusing on other things.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're fuck dolls.
But have you seen Detective Pikachu?
Or no.
Have you?
No.
Yeah, I took
We're
the
not
kids.
talking about movies.
We're not doing
well,
this.
We'll talk about
We'll talk
Detective
about it on the break.
On break. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking about all 4 books that LANA made us read.
And not Detective Pikachu.
And welcome to our main book presentation. Wait, do we say stuff here?
We do.
Main. Well, it's
The main
we used to say
feature.
main feature, but this isn't a feature film.
The books we're going to review.
I think
The
main
main
book presentation
chapter.
is
Let's
good.
talk about books.
Yeah.
The main chapter. Yes, the final chapter.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Chapter. All right, so yeah, we're gonna be talking. So we're going to be talking about books that our friend LANA has recommended to us. The reason why we chose to ask LANA to pick our books is because she's always reading. She always has. Every time she's recommended me a book, it's been she knocks it out of the park. My tastes align with her quite almost all the time. So I wanted to just hear of something that I never heard of before and read about it. And I think out of the only one, I read Buzi's book last month, but other than that, I had never heard of any of these books. And I don't know how you guys. Obviously, I
either.
think Cabinet at the End of the World is the most famous one.
I agree, yeah.
Because
I think so too.
It's very current and
Well
relevant,
known.
and a lot of people are reading Paul Tremblay's books for good reason. But yeah, so I'm going to be reviewing. We'll each just share our reviews, talk about the book, the experience we had with it, and then we'll let LANA know if she sucked or not, if she did good or did bad.
Okay.
So
That's a risque thing to tell her.
Yeah.
stick around, Lana. All right, so I read The Devil All the Time by Donald Ray Pollack. So right off the bat, I'm just going to go through the themes of this book, and I'm going to talk about the characters, and I'm going to go through my experience with it. So the themes that are tackled in this book are... I'm just going to get it out of the way. Before I start anything, I fucking loved this book. It was a hands down hard solid 5 out of 5 for me. This is the type of shit that I love, and I was glued to it. I started reading it, I think the couple days after we recorded our last book club episode, and I couldn't put it down. And it's not by any means a real short book, but it's not super long either. But I just skimmed, I cruised through it. It was awesome. But the themes that you deal with in a book like this is there's abuse of power, abuse of religion, nature versus nurture, small town confinement, both mentally and physically, corruption of justice, desperation, revenge, toxic relationships, brutality, and the pure evil within mankind. All wrapped up in one of the most masterfully written and beautifully disgusting Southern novels I have ever read. On the back of the paperback that I have here, it says, "For fans of No Country for Old Men, sure to give you goosebumps." And I can attest to that it is very much like No Country for Old Men, but I'd say it's not a slight against No Country for Old Men, but this book moves a lot quicker than that, and it's there's a lot more to it. There's more characters. That's what I'm going to get into right now. So for the characters, you have Arvin is at the center of this. So the main character, the protagonist, his name is Arvin, and you follow him over the course of his formative years. You're with him from when his mother is dying of cancer, and his father, named Willard, is desperate to save her, and he begins sacrificing animals and other beings with hopes of curing her. You're in the beginning pages of the novel, you're introduced that he has what he calls a prayer log. And he takes his son there, and he is a highly religious man. He's a World War II veteran. Well, not a veteran, because this takes place in the late 50s, like where you're starting off here. Or, like, you start off, yeah. That's late 50s is when he has Arvin. And his wife is sick. Sorry, I'm losing my words here. But he's sacrificing animals, and they go into disgusting detail. And that's something that I'm not normally good with, is I'm really not good with animal violence in any way, in any capacity. So I was able to handle it because it's not a huge part of the story, but it does kick things off quite grim. So like I said, Willard, Arvin's father, is a World War II soldier, and his wife is Charlotte. Another characters that you're introduced to are Carl and Sandy, who are a serial killer couple, and as well as Sheriff Boddicker, who is a corrupt lawman. And then there's also Preacher Roy, who's a man on the run from murdering his wife out of religious delusion. Then you have Lenora, who's the orphan daughter of Roy, and the woman who he killed, his girlfriend. Anyways, and then you have Preston Teagarden, who is a sick preacher. He's disgusting, and I couldn't get enough of him or anyone else in this novel. It is so weird, because this is one of those books where I found myself getting bummed out because each chapter is kind of split up into what each character's doing, and then it builds up, and then it goes to another character in the next chapter, and I'd get bummed out, and I'd be like, oh damn, I was getting really invested in them, and normally that bugs me, but then I actually caught myself saying out loud as I was reading it, when I get into the next chapter, I'd be like, oh right, I wonder what these gigantic pieces of shit are up to now, because everyone in this book is so fucking interesting. And they're so evil, and this book is just like, it's pure grit. I read it in my head with a southern accent, because it feels like you can't do it any other way.
Can you give us a demo of that?
Oh my god!
Oh boy!
Come on!
I could try and read the back. Yeah. In the backwoods of Ohio, Willard Russell's wife is at death's door. No matter how much he drinks, prays, or sacrifices animals at his prayer log. Meanwhile, his son Arvin is growing up. From a kid bullied at school into a man who knows when to take action. Around the swirl of nefarious cast of characters. A demented team of serial killers, a spider-eating preacher, and a corrupt local sheriff. All braided into a riveting narrative of the grittiest American grain.
That was well done.
I am shocked.
I am too. I was
I've
scared
known
for
this
what
kid
that was.
his entire life. I've never heard him do an impersonation like
It's
that.
because
So
he's living
audiobooks?
with me. It's because he's living with me.
He's getting
That
his
was
acting chops up.
incredible.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah,
Either way,
very impressed.
That's how I read this entire book.
You started sounding a little bit though like
molasses.
No,
I was trying to sound like that. Who's that guy that Mom really likes? He's in.
Sam. What's
The guy with the mustache?
Yeah.
The guy with built tough, built
Yeah.
forward tough.
What the hell is his last
He's
name?
in A Star Is Born. He's
Yeah.
that dipshit's dad.
I forget
Bradley
his name.
Cooper.
I want to say Sam something or other, but
Sam Neill. No, that's not Sam Neill. Whatever.
you
fuck
keep
it.
going. I'll
Yeah.
Google it.
So yeah, like this book, you're introduced to a variety of characters, and they're all so well fleshed out, and they're interesting in their own ways. And so you're introduced to a handful of characters who are all disturbed in their own ways, and in the middle of it all, you have Arvin, who is a boy growing into a man in a toxic black hole of a town surrounded by extremely flawed people.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Yes, that's it.
Sam Elliott. He's from Big Lebowski. All right, yeah. So Donald Ray Pollack, though, I cannot express how well this book is written, and he writes in such a unique way that I've yet to experience outside of this book. It made it for like a truly gripping, page-turning experience. And they're like, with him though, like the brilliance of this book is that the situations that happen, they just escalate so quickly, and like heinous things are happening, but he's writing them from the perspective of a sick person, so it's like it's nothing. It's just so natural, and I'm like, wait a fucking minute, like he's talking about doing something that's like unspeakable, and it's just like it's second nature to him, because he's getting into these characters' heads, and he does it so well, almost to the point where it's concerning. It's just so seamless in every sense of the word. But yeah, that's, they're actually, one last thing before I'll let Courtney take over and talk about her book, is that I was pleased to find out that they are actually making a movie about this, and it's filming right now.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to share, because...
Are you going to give us your dream cast?
No, but
the cast is out.
the cast is out?
He's going to do voiceover for it.
No. Nice.
Yeah.
Y'all get ready
And
for the greatest movie.
the sacrificed goat, Mitch Oliver.
So it's going to be directed by Antonio Campos, who was a producer on Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. You saw that, right, Courtney?
I started it. I never finished it.
I own
and
it, it's great.
I know. I really want to finish it.
Yeah, and he was a producer on the Sinner TV show.
Hell yeah.
He directed some episodes of that. He directed The Punisher, one episode of The Punisher TV show, and he directed Christine. Not the John Carpenter movie, but the one about it came out in 2016.
It's a newscaster who kills herself on air.
Rebecca Hull. It's a true story. Yeah, she kills
Have you
herself.
never heard of it?
You can
What
watch
year
it on
did it
YouTube.
come out?
I feel
It was
like
in the
they
70s.
I feel
It was
like
in
they
the
covered it on the podcast.
Okay, I must. Yeah.
But the movie
It's awesome.
is
It's
very
really good.
well done.
Michael C. Hall is in it
Crazy.
as well.
What's the main act? Do you know the main actress's
Yeah,
name?
Rebecca Hull.
Oh, you
She's
said
in,
that, sorry.
what's that? The Awakening is a horror movie. She's in this, pretty decent.
Yeah, The
And
Awakening's
she's in
good.
The Town.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'll
but
have to check that out.
yeah, so this guy has done some good shit, so that makes me excited. But what really got me excited is the casting for this movie. So keep in mind, all of these people are shitty. With Arvin, the main character, is like, you're rooting for him because he's just in this black hole of a situation. Like, it's not his fault that he's born into, it's that small town mentality. And it's just like everyone in the movies, everyone in the book sucks, but they're so interesting because of their suckage.
They suck the right way.
Yeah, so you have Arvin Russell's being played by Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
I can't believe that.
I'm so excited. He is so...
He plays young, though, right? He plays the young Arvin?
No, you're thinking of because I told you that his dad, Willard, is only... I don't want to spoil anything, but he's not a big part, but so Arvin's dad is played by Bill Skarsgård, who's Pennywise in It.
Oh.
And so you obviously know Bill Skarsgård's not that much older than Tom Holland.
No.
But
But
I've
he's
finished
no
the book,
stranger to the makeup chair.
yeah, but now that I've
Very
read
true.
Age him up.
now that I read the book, I know kind of where they're going. The corrupt sheriff is going to be played by Sebastian Stan, who is the Winter Soldier, and he's in.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's hot.
Let me see.
He's pretty hot.
Oh, I know.
And he's in what's that called? That movie that we really liked, I, Tonya.
Yes.
Oh, I, Tanya's incredible.
Yeah, he's
That's
real
so
good.
good.
Riley Keough, who was in that really underrated great movie Hold the Dark.
I love her. I
that
think
Jeff
she's
is not smart
incredible.
enough.
Oh, yeah, her.
Yeah, she's going to be in that. She plays Sandy, who's one of the serial killers.
Oh, she's the couple? One of the couples?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know who her husband is? The other serial killer?
Who?
Yeah, big damn bowl of oatmeal, Jason Clarke.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry, Lana. No, I actually like Jason Clarke, but
Every time I think of Jason Clarke, I think of that time that he was in the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie. I believe
as most people would.
I believe it was Holiday in the Sun. It's the one in Australia with like the diamond.
either.
But I can't get it out of my head. And like even when I was watching Pet Sematary, I was just like, Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, he's so... he is
plays
bland.
He plays Lewis Creed in Pet Sematary.
He was good in that movie.
At the end, yeah.
It
he's-
sounded
At
like
the
you were
end.
trying to summon them.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
And let's also include Elizabeth because you're incredible.
Mia Wasikowska is in this movie as well.
Show me her. I think I know who
Yeah,
that
she's
is.
Alice. Okay.
Dying over
And the last thing I'm going to say before I let Courtney take over, the disgusting preacher that's probably debatably the most despicable character in the movie, or in the book. I keep saying movie. But he's going to be playing him in the movie. Our goddamn new Batman, Robert Pattinson. And I'm so excited for it.
he's
I'm,
gonna
Our
make him-
pets. Our pets.
Well,
Our pets.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like anyone listening, if you're still on the Robert Pattinson hate train, you gotta just watch a movie
Yeah.
after 2012
For
with,
real.
with him in it. He's amazing.
Dude can act.
Good
but
Times is fucking incredible.
Good Time is
Incredible.
So good.
Is it just Good Time?
Yeah, Good
No
Time.
S? Good Time.
No S.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Ooh, I can
Lana,
just see him as a creepy preacher.
Yeah, he's like a creepy and with young girls.
Yeah, I can
Perfect.
totally see it.
Perfect.
Yeah. And apparently he smells in real life, so that's gonna work.
Oh,
out
he
really
doesn't bathe or wear deodorant.
Oh,
Well. Well, what's
man.
that? Kristen Stewart
That's
said that he
disappointing.
smelled on
Patchouli
Twilight.
only.
Can you not cut me off?
Oh, for fuck. If
how
that
does it
isn't
feel?
the pot calling it.
Closing thoughts. I loved this book. I feel like I did not give away anything that would take away from your enjoyment of this book, but I will say that it is extremely brutal, extremely gruesome. I told Courtney about a few parts, and that was enough for her to say that book's not for me.
I was going to comment on that at the beginning of mine. It's just that Mitch was telling me different scenes because I asked him if I would like it, and I don't think that I'm emotionally ready to handle a book of that
It's grotesque.
nature.
I feel like I need to read it.
Yeah,
It's extremely violent.
I'm gonna read it. I'm just gonna wait about a year or two. 'Cause
There's-
I'm not ready for
There's
it right
some
now.
really, really, really disturbing stuff in this book.
And
But-
he explained things to me, and it's
So I've also recommended this book to a couple friends. Shout out to Rick Hill, Mike Grant. They listened to the audiobook, and apparently the audiobook is really good. So that's another thing you can check out if you are unable to read. Courtney. Oh yeah, Lana, thank you so much. Love it. I texted Lana like 2 days after I finished this because I was like, I can't wait another month to tell you that book was fucking awesome.
Oh, right
And
on.
yeah, so 10 out of 10, like 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever you want to give it, highest
it.
rating for me. And I don't hand those out too often. I just usually say
Shit.
it's one of my favorites.
No kidding. Best book ever.
No, I don't do that. I say one of my favorites. But Devil All the Time, recommended.
Nice.
Courtney, what did you read?
okay. So I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. So first things first, the book itself is gorgeous. It's like that matte black.
Gorgina.
Gorgina. With like, I don't know, it's just a beautiful book, and like my fingerprints are all over the fucking cover, and it drives me crazy.
Can you stop? You're just rubbing the shit out of this book in front of us.
Well, I'm trying to get the fingerprints off. But anyways, beautiful looking book. So I have never read anything else by Colleen Hoover ever. And apparently the majority of the books that she writes are all romance novels.
Oh, no kidding.
I was under the impression that this was her first thriller romance. Romantic thriller?
There you go.
Maybe. But I was reading on Goodreads some reviews today, and apparently it's not her first one. But anyways, regardless, pretty good considering that she only writes romance books.
Nice.
So this book follows a woman named Lowen, 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 right? Yeah. So she is a struggling writer in financial trouble, basically dealing just with the recent death of her mom. And she's approached by the husband of a best-selling author who asks her to help finish the 3 remaining books in a series that his wife had been writing before she had a tragic accident. And he asks her to finish the series based on the notes that she had written and had in her home office. And Lowen was like, no, like I don't like being in the public and blah, blah, blah. So they come to terms and say that she can do it without all the press stuff. And she can write under a pen name, basically. So he invites her to come stay at their house to look through the office, stay in the office, and read all of her notes, which works out well for her because she doesn't have a fucking home anymore. Anyways.
Score.
So when she gets there, she realizes it's this gigantic, huge estate, basically, in the country. And it's this gentleman. So the husband's name is Jeremy, and the author's name is Verity. Okay, book name. So they have a son named Crew who lives at the house. Yeah, I know.
Which one of Brad Pitt's kids is that?
Exactly, I know. I was like, oh god. But and they recently had twin daughters that passed away as well. So Verity was left basically like completely incapacitated from this car wreck that she was in. She's confined to a bed. She can't feed herself. She can't go to the washroom. She can't bathe herself. She has like a stay-in-home nurse that does everything for her. So when Lowen starts looking through Verity's notes, she finds the author's hidden autobiography that nobody knows about, especially her husband. And she starts reading it and realizes that there is good reason that this autobiography was hidden. So Verity basically details the first bit of her relationship with Jeremy, and it was all very sexual. They fell in love very quickly, and all of a sudden she got pregnant. And it was like, well, I guess we're getting married. We're having this baby.
Everybody getting pregnant.
I was like,
My God.
do it. That's my Tracy Morgan.
Oh, we had that like moment
Yeah.
of connection where our eyes are like,
Anytime we heard the
I saw it and I was like, oh God, what's
I know, I'm
happening?
like, what's about to happen here?
Everybody get pregnant.
She gets pregnant and he's like, Kate, you know what? We're in love now. Let's get married. Finds out she's pregnant with twins. She's like, oh shit. So this autobiography basically details how much, as soon as she got pregnant, she felt like her husband immediately only cared about the children growing inside of her and not her. And that as soon as the children would be born, it was just going to be all about the children and not about her, which I'm sure a lot of women struggle with as well, so that's fair. So it talks about their sex life, how much she hates being a mother, and it also details secrets about her daughter's deaths as well. And so Lowen is reading this and being like, I don't want to tell Jeremy that this exists because it will hurt him. Because of course, as she's staying there, guess what happens?
They're hooking up.
She falls in love with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Drama. So also throughout the book as well, she thinks that Verity is faking her illness. Because she'll be in the kitchen doing something and she'll look up and she'll see her at the top of the stairs. And she'll bring it up to Jeremy and he's just like, she's confined to a bed. She can't do anything. You're going crazy. You're in her mindset because of the notes that you're reading and everything. And she also hears the Sun crew talking to her in her room. And he basically makes it seem like they've had a conversation. So she thinks that something's going on there. And Jeremy makes her think that she's going fucking crazy. And that's all. Sorry. That is all I can tell you.
That sounds so good.
Because it gets fucking wild after that. And the whole time I was reading this book, this is one of those books that you don't want to put down because you want to keep reading it. And it's really nice, like the pages and everything. It's beautiful to have in your hands. But twists and turns, and I had no fucking idea where it was going to take me at the very end, and I was very surprised. So good for you, Colleen Hoover. 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. Because I did not expect what happened at the end. It was a really cool read. I was expecting it to be a bit more horror-esque. But it was a thriller. It was really cool. It was not the novel that I was expecting.
It sounds a little Misery-ish. Like if Misery opened up a little bit. Just opened up and talked a little more, you know?
I wish Kathy Bates would be in the...
She could be Verity.
She could be Verity. Yeah. Well, no, Verity's like a hot...
Excuse me? What are you trying to say about Kathy Bates,
Mitch
Courtney?
got
You
a thing for
disgusting-
Kathy.
Whoa, I did not know that was a thing.
Well,
I love Kathy
there we
Bates.
go.
Kathy Bates is a bad bitch. So,
Agreed.
but yeah, really, really, really cool book. Thank you, Lana, for the recommendation. 10 out of 10 would read again. I think I gave it a 4.5 because there was just a little bit that I would have changed. But all in all, really good read. So
Awesome.
very impressed. I liked it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 for 2. Buzi, take it away.
Lana
Take it away, Ernie.
Lana suggested for me The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Trembley, like we had said before. And I knew... Courtney, did you read this as well?
I read
I
the
know
last
Mitch...
one.
I
oh,
haven't
no, you
read
didn't.
it. I read A
Okay.
Head Full of Ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my first Paul Tremblay book. And yeah, you guys seem like you really doted over it. So I was like, oh, I'm really excited for this. And it's a home invasion book, which is also one of my favorite things. So it's about a couple, Eric and Andrew. They are on vacation with their daughter Wen, and to get away from society, they decide to go to a remote cabin that they've rented. And it
Sounds incredible.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's really interesting off the start because you kind of get into the backstory of Eric and Andrew's relationship right away and how Wen came to be because she's an adopted daughter. And then it goes a lot into her mindset as well, and you talk a lot from that point of view. And then it happens really quick is that all of a sudden these intruders are there, and they're not aggressive intruders. It's weird. It's like they have this like hive mind mentality, and they're trying to get in to talk to these people, yet they have weapons with them.
They're all there for a purpose.
Yeah, they're all there for a purpose, and yeah, they're not like, it's not your typical home invasion where they're like breaking in and trying to stab everybody or anything. They have this singular purpose, and they're trying to contact with these people who obviously are like, go away, we don't want you here, and are terrified, and they can't get cell service, and they can't get out to their vehicle to get away, so it's just they're trying to hold them off, and there's all conflict within that. And then once they do get in and they explain why they're there is where the book gets so much different from what a typical home invasion movie would be, because all of a sudden there's this grander purpose, and there's this larger story within that story, and you kind of have to go and figure out what side you're on, because certain characters pick different sides, or they kind of go into a gray area after a while, and you're trying to decide if what the home invaders are explaining to these people is true or not. I don't know if
you can say, because they
No, that
believe
makes sense.
They believe that the end of the world is coming.
Yeah, they've had, all of them have had these visions, and they all connected on a chat room.
Oh,
and
is it like a cult?
no.
They're not a cult, but it kind of, they're like
They've
people
all
are drawn together.
Yeah, they've all had
Okay.
this joint vision, and they're
Okay.
trying to find out if anyone else has had
Like
it. and they-
doomsday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then there's kind of this thing where they're talking about, like, they all had to connect, and they're all figuring out why they need to go to this place and talk specifically to this family, because they've had these visions of it, and that the world's going to end if they don't sacrifice one of them.
Yeah, and they need to make up their mind. Like,
But they have to
The
sacrifice
family
them-
has to choose, right?
Yeah, but
family
they
has
have
to
to
choose with
sacrifice
themselves.
That's so stressful.
And there's a bunch of smaller parts that come into this, like certain characters find out more about certain characters than you think, and there's tweener characters where they're not quite terrible people, but they also are. They're all, basically everyone in this book except for one character are not bad people. They're put in a rough situation, but you kind of become a bad person, just perspective wise, because of a situation.
Yeah.
And then has a very interesting ending.
I want to talk to you about that
I did not
off air.
expect that ending to happen. And it's unfortunate is that it's such a small book. Like, I feel like they could have, or Paul Trembley could have got so much more juice out of it. Like, I loved the idea, and I loved the whole story of it. It was just like, I wanted a little bit more from everyone.
That's like, and I brought that up last month because I'd read it as well.
Yeah.
And like, that's like a criticism that he takes a lot, is that he leaves endings
things
a little
open-ending, hey?
ambiguous.
Right?
But the thing is, I think that it works so well in that book.
I have no problem with the ending being ambiguous.
You
It's
wanted more from it,
I
though,
wanted
'cause it's so
more.
good.
Yeah, I wanted more meat within that,
So
and
you
that's
liked
not
it.
that's not a takeaway from Paul Tremblay. I'm literally saying, like, I wanted more.
No, you're
in
saying
this
he
book.
sucks and that he should quit writing.
You want
That's the best. That's the
number
best.
two.
That's the
You
best
wanted
thing that
more
you
of
can
what
say
he was
about a book,
serving.
though, is
Yeah.
that you didn't want to stop and you wanted more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that I have not read this book
So
yet.
I'm gathering that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah,
It's fucking awesome.
I'm very interested to read more Paul Tremblay now.
No, I'm gonna
because
try to read that Head Full of
Lana
Ghosts.
talked a lot about him as well.
I'm reading Head Full of Ghosts right now.
I'm gonna read it. So me and
It's
you will
very
have two
cool.
to talk about.
We'll have two to talk
Yeah.
about next
We'll talk
week,
about
next month.
two Paul Tremblay. Well, yeah, no, Paul Tremblay and Avery Grant. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're 3 for 3 now.
Awesome.
Love it.
great book. And also, Paul Tremblay has a book of short stories coming out in
I was
July.
gonna say, isn't there something that's
Yeah.
happening right away?
I'm gonna pull up what the title is because I've been seeing. I follow him on Instagram, but
Oh, also, I forgot to mention when I was talking about this, there's a lot of violence and gore in this, and it's explained in such a way where you feel like you're there, like you're smelling corpses with everybody.
yeah, and it's like it gets so fucking
You gotta
bleak.
love that.
Like it's
Yeah,
a good
it's-
horror story. It's a really good horror story, but there's like 3 parts where I'm like, well, fuck. like this is like not the kind of thing that it's amazing because I love being sad because I'm always sad, so I need to become accustomed to it. But it's a sad book. Paul Trembley, Growing Things and Other Stories comes out in July 2nd.
Nice.
Yeah, Papa's birthday. Tara, what did you read?
I read Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin.
I just love that last name.
Schweblin, I know.
Schweblin.
Well, and it's weird because she's Argentinian. So you don't, it doesn't sound like like an Argentinian name. Anyway.
Hi, I'm Argentinian. My name's
Samantha Schweblin.
Oh my God. Poor Samantha. Anyway.
Samantha, we love you, girl.
Yeah.
Slay, honey. Slay, honey.
All day.
Henny.
All day. Okay, so this book was released in 2014. A brief description of the book is a young woman named Amanda lies dying in a rural hospital. A boy named David sits beside her. She is not his mother. Together they tell a haunting story of broken souls, toxins, and the power and desperation of family.
Ooh.
So this book is really short. It's 183 pages.
Oh.
And it
Beautiful cover, too.
The cover is very, it draws you in. You're like, what the fuck is this about? Mm-hmm. So the book was originally written in Spanish, and then it was translated into English.
Oh, cool.
Yes, which I found out after I read the book, and you would...
Were there any nuances to that?
No, there was absolutely no...
They did a good job.
Excellent job. Excellent job. So because the book is so short, it reads a lot more like a short story than a novel. The pace is really quick, and it jumps between 3 different timelines. So the title, Fever Dream, is a really good description of what the book feels like. Overall, it feels very much like a fever dream, like how you feel when you're waking up from being under anesthesia. Yeah, I know.
I've never been under.
You've never been under? Neither is my husband.
No.
I've been put under probably 6 times.
I was under after we had saw Us the night before.
Oh yeah, you were hearing I got 5 on it.
Oh my God! As soon as he woke up from surgery, he goes, "Babe, I got 5 on it." It's like, okay, babe, let's
so
have
that's
a
what happens
sleep.
is when you're kind of like being pulled back from like reality and then being dragged back into your dream and like
I got 5
that
on
back forth the kind of thing. Like
Sounds
that's
incredible.
That's what the book feels like. It is.
It's like peyote. Honestly, you guys should all try it. Just kidding.
It's
Why are you trying to match?
It's quick and an easy feeling, and just you feel like a unsettled feeling for the entire book.
Love it.
Which is really, really cool. The characters are Amanda, her daughter Nina, Carla, who is their neighbor at a lake resort, and her son David. Amanda narrates the story while she lies dying in a hospital bed. The boy, David, is with her, although we don't know if he's real or a figment of her imagination. As she's laying there dying, right? We learn through Carla that David was poisoned by drinking contaminated water from a stream. Carla is David's mother. Carla panics and takes David to a psychic who performs a transmigration, in which she splits David's spirit from his body and migrates it to a healthy body, allowing part of an unknown spirit to enter David's body.
Oh shit!
Yes, girl. It gave me major Pet Sematary vibes because it's like, the whole time she's like, he's not going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Like, so your son David will be somewhere living in a healthy body. You are going to have David's body and you are going to need to take care of it, but we don't know what the fuck's going to wind up in it. So watching her son die in front of her, she makes this decision and says, go ahead, do the thing. So after the migration, David is not the same, and they allude to him being cold and dangerous.
So new soul in his body now.
New soul or something in his body. So I'm going to read you an excerpt.
We didn't do excerpts.
Yeah.
Good for you for remembering.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're automatically Andy's favorite, because that was Andy's idea.
What up, Andy?
Love you, Andy. See you soon.
Yep, can't wait. So anyway, here's a little snippet from the section where the psychic is performing the transmigration. I sat there looking at his dirty hands. He was using them to hold onto the table like a railing as he walked, and then I saw his wrists. He had marks on his skin, lines like brackets around his wrists, and a little above them too, maybe left by the rope. It seems cruel, said the woman as she approached, watching my reaction to David's next step, but we have to make sure that only the spirit leaves. She caressed his wrists, as if forgiving herself. She said, the body has to stay. She yawned. I realized she had been yawning since she returned to the kitchen. She said it was an effect of the transmigration, and that it would happen to him too, as soon as he finished waking up. It was important to get it all out, to yawn with the mouth wide open, and let it go. What did David do? I asked. The woman pulled up the chair next to me for him to sit on. And you? You didn't even touch him? Poor thing. Then the woman poured more tea, keeping an eye on us while she did, watchful over our meeting. David had trouble climbing onto the chair, but I couldn't bring myself to help him up. Then he sat there looking at his hands. He has to yawn soon, said the woman, yawning deeply, covering her mouth. She sat down at the table too, with her tea, and she looked at him attentively. I asked her how it had gone. Better than I expected, she said. The transmigration had taken part of the poison away, and now, split between two bodies, it would lose the battle. What does that mean? That David would survive, David's body, and also David in his new body. I look at Carla, and Carla looks at me. She's wearing an openly false smile, like a clown's, which is for a moment confuses me and makes me think that this is all a long joke in bad taste. But she says, so this one is my new David, the monster.
Now
May
in
I?
Spanish, please.
Yeah.
Por favor.
May I
Texas.
interrupt before you finish, Tara?
Absolutely, you may.
So there is a theory that if someone talks about or does a yawn,
I does a yawn.
I does a yawn.
I did it.
no, but there's
Book
a theory.
reference.
There's a theory that if you talk about yawning or if you are yawning
It triggers your brain.
and someone around you does not, it means that they are a psychopath.
I have heard this.
and they don't have empathy. So I would like to just point out that while Tara read that excerpt and she had two very large yawning portions, I yawned both times and neither Buzi or Mitchell did. They
'cause
just
you were-
sat there like they weren't fucking nothing.
No,
And
it's
I'd like
because-
to mention I wanted to yawn, but I was
You
reading.
were reading, so it doesn't count.
I'd like to point out that Courtney yawned because she was bored and she was like, God, Tara, just get on with
Oh my
it."
god.
Oh,
Did you not see
She
me
was
sitting
rude.
there
Oh, no.
being like,
She was hanging on to my every word.
I actually was sitting here and not empathizing with things and thinking about killing people.
there
Oh
you
my
go.
God. There you go. There you go.
There you
Theory.
have it.
Science, my friends.
It's
science. So anyway, so there are so many themes in this book, and each theme could potentially be developed into a full-length novel. The way that this is written, it's she has such great ideas, and they keep, you keep almost seeing them in the distance, like, oh, is this where the book's gonna go? And then it would change, like, oh, is this where it's gonna go?
Was she a short story
She
writer?
she does write primarily short stories.
Isn't that funny how we've
Yes.
noted that, hey?
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of the themes in this book are parental anxiety. So Amanda is obsessed with what she calls the rescue distance from her young daughter Nina. She's always looking for Nina and making sure that she's within an arm's reach. Carla is so distraught at the idea of her son dying that she makes an impossible decision to save him with potentially horrific consequences, which gave me so many Pet Sematary vibes. The environment was a big theme in this novel, the source of David's illness, and another illness further down the line in the book were because of environmental toxins.
Where is this book? Do you remember where it's like based in?
I don't know if she says.
I would assume it's like not Louisiana, but something like
I don't know if it's
close by.
I don't know. It's
Or
like
wait,
a,
you said
it's a
that it was
lakeside resort kind of town. It's a
Right.
small town with a lake cabin resort type place. Witchcraft and the occult is another theme in the book. The psychic performs this transmigration ritual to save David's life. I was really excited when that happened, because then I was like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to get witchy up in here. Mm-hmm. And like that kind of was all you heard about it. So some of the takeaways, I love the pace of the book and how it seamlessly, how the author seamlessly moves from one timeline to another, because it goes from Amanda lying in the hospital bed talking to David to remembering these conversations with Carla about David to Carla telling Amanda about when David got all fucked up. So there's 3 simultaneous story timeline,
but it's all easy to follow.
So easy
and
to
that's
follow.
cranked into less than 200 pages.
That's
I'm
insane.
telling you,
that is
that's
insane.
See, and okay, so
Mitch Schweblin has successfully written
I have like this, and I mean it's not my theory. It's like I think pretty well known, but like to be able to say what you want to say and get it across with as few words as possible is really. Really hard.
We have 121 episodes to show for that.
Exactly. So because this is so distilled and every idea is so thought out, and that's what makes this novel really, really beautiful. Some of the ideas and happenings that were going on in the book were genuinely creepy and unsettling. I didn't like how certain events and themes went undeveloped, though, because of that being a short story. And like I said, I would see those little snippets of, oh, fuck, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. But then you never really saw how it played out. Mm-hmm. That would be pretty much my only criticism of the book. It left quite a bit up to the reader's imagination and interpretation. And I believe I said in a past book club episode that I don't mind an open ending or a interpret what you will ending, but the ending of this book left me pretty unsatisfied.
No.
Yeah, and like it was well done. Like if you look at it as a whole, it totally was well done. It was just my personal need to have things explained to me.
How dare authors ask us to make the decision?
Yes,
hey?
I'm like, I it was so good, and I think she could write probably 6 novels based on the different storylines in this novel. So take that for what you will. I loved her writing style and the dark tones, so I would definitely recommend this book. I will be reading one of her other books, Mouthful of Birds. It's a collection of short stories, which coincidentally today I'm flipping around on the Instagram, and Lana's Instagram story, she's reading A Mouthful of Birds.
Yeah, I was like, where do I know it from?
And I was like,
messaging her about
holy
it
fuck.
today.
And
Every time she posts a book post on Instagram, I save it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm going to want this for
and
later.
I almost messaged her, but my Instagram was like screwing up today. I don't know, it wouldn't load and stuff. But I was like, that's crazy. I'm about to go talk about these books, and you're reading that book right now.
Follow Lana on Instagram if you haven't yet for some reason.
I'm sure everybody does.
Lana Banana.
Lana Banana.
It's spelt weird, though. I always have trouble searching her.
There's a couple extra A's in it.
And underscores, right?
No underscores.
Oh.
Yeah. So definitely loved this book. I'm going to be reading. I want to read more from Samantha Schweblin. Her writing style is insane. Definitely recommend it to anybody. It's a really quick and easy read. I read it in one sitting. It ticks along at a really good pace. So, pretty digestible and fits into your lifestyle, but such good storytelling.
Excellent.
So, yeah, 4 out of 4, Lana.
4 for 4.
Whoa.
4 for 4.
Maybe she should pick all of our books.
That's why I messaged her today. I was like, pick my book for next month. But then I was like, I am going to read, she recommended me a few, and I'm going to read them, but I'm going to do The Ruins next month. So with that being said, once again, I'm reading The Ruins by... Oh my god, I'm sorry. Scott Smith. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Scott something.
Yeah, Scott Smith. I got it right.
Yay!
Yeah, smart. Courtney, what are you reading?
Dr. Sleep by Stephen King.
Buzi?
The Hunger by Al Makatsu.
Tara?
Foe by Ian Reid.
Awesome. So once again, thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you, Lana.
Everyone follow Lana on Twitter and Instagram. and send her a message, get her to recommend some books to you. Also, big shout out to Bryson for reading all 4 of these books.
No shit.
right.
Well done,
Oh my
Bryson.
God,
I
Bryson,
feel
you
bad
are
for not mentioning this earlier, but
The best.
Yeah, Bryson read every single one. I think he's still working
give
his
us
way
a
through
review?
Devil all the time. He
did he?
he loved all 3 of your guys's. As far as I know,
He hasn't passed judgment on yours
well,
yet.
he's been having because I think he's listening to the audiobook, and that's the thing is I didn't actually mention this, but it's a book that you have to pay like pretty close attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if like I have 2 friends who listen to the audiobook and they said it's great, but I could see if you're listening to an audiobook and you get distracted for
You can
3
miss some
minutes,
serious
you
shit.
could completely be lost
Yeah.
right away. And it's like it's not like an overly complex book, but I get it. But I also understand that this isn't a book for everybody. Like it's very grim, and I know he likes grim shit. He loves Saw and stuff like that, but it's a different kind of grim.
I just wanted to mention that Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, is happening in Saskatoon at the Ramey Arts Center, July 29th to June 29th to July 7th. Get your tickets. It's going to be bloody and gruesome, and the music is going to blow your mind.
How much are tickets?
I think they're like $38.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Not
Me and
bad
you
at
are
all.
going.
Yeah, we're going for
Oh,
sure.
I'm going for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
you should
I
come
think
with us, then.
I think I want to buy us all tickets, and then we'll all go together. I think that'd be fun.
I wanted to buy tickets for Andy, Bianca, and Lana, but it ends the day that they get here.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate, but we'll
yeah.
tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And we'll go see an alligator movie. But
Yes.
so once again, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Terror Table, and keep an eye out for what we'll be talking about next week. We'll be back to movies next week, and then Buzi and I are working on something very special.
Very large.
It's very large, very large. And we're going to be
Courtney and
announcing
I
it
are
soon.
intrigued.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about it. No, I'm sure we'll announce it next week or the week
Yeah.
after. But we got
Large, you
some.
say.
We have our work cut out for us. So
We're going to
yes,
be digging in.
yes. Thank you
Digging
very,
in deep.
very, very much, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week on The Terror Table.
Thanks, guys.